Good evening everyone, welcome back to our show, Speedcars Down Under. I know we've been off with a bit of a break. Paul's been working, I've been working, actually I've been flat out with Tasmanian stuff, so we haven't had a chance to really do any Speedcar Down Under stuff, but we're back after a bit of a long break, actually nearly 2 months I think it is, but thanks for sticking with us and showing your support on the background. We do appreciate it all. Tonight our special guest for our first show back is current Australia number 2, Nick Parker. Welcome, Nick.
How you going, Jamie? Thanks for having us on the show, mate.
Good, mate. Great to have you on the show, mate. Yeah, where do we start? Like, there's so much to talk to you about. Every time we talk, we seem to talk for ages and ages. So I do apologise to people at home if this show goes for a while, because it could do. But anyway, we'll start from scratch. Where did it all begin for you, Nick?
Oh man, if you want to go back right to the very beginning of the Speedway in the Parker family, yeah, it's been pretty well recognised before that my grandfather was involved, through the 60s, 70s, 80s, and as a crew member for some well-known teams in Victoria, and then owning his own cars in the sort of late 80s, early 90s, where I fell in love with it and, developed a passion for speed car racing. And then, my dad was involved with the club for many years through the 90s as well. And, a little bit on and off, because then in the late 90s I started getting into my own racing career. And, we went down the road racing path with, go-karts, Formula Ford, and then moving into like the National Commodore Cup Series there in the early 2000s to sort of 2010. Sort of been around and done a lot of racing over the years. Been pretty cool and pretty fortunate to race many different sort of types of race cars and drive lots of different types of race cars. And then I always had that burning passion for speed car racing, and like I said before, I was a kid around the pits, and watching guys like Noddy Bishop and the Powers and Wayne Pearce and some of those guys. I just you idolise those drivers and stuff, and I was like, I want to do that one day. That'd be really cool. So after having a small retirement period for 2 or 3 years, I think 2015ish, I decided let's go speed car racing. It's time now. I'd gotten married and bought a house and had a couple of kids and got all that stuff out of the way, and then it was back to the important stuff to go racing again. So we bought ourselves a car and out of South Australia, and then 10 years later, here we are, standing or sitting at Australia number 2, but still hungry for more and still driven to improve. So we'll see where the rest of the journey takes us. And you wasn't no slouch in the Commodore Cup Series either, was you? I've been told a few stories, especially one certain story about wet conditions one day out there on the track. It was a bit of a duck in water in the wet conditions. I don't know, that probably pointed me in the speedway direction too, because I was like, if you're good in the wet, you're probably good on dirt. Yep. I don't know, it made sense to me, but look, it was a hard series. It was a national series. It was, compared to the budget we're spending now, it was triple what we're spending now. Yep. When I think back, I think, man, the money and resources that we put into that series, would have seen out my career in a speed car, no problemo. But that's the path we took, and I don't have any regrets. Met some great people, made some great friendships along the way, and had some pretty awesome experiences racing at some of the best circuits in Australia. And then moving into speedway as well. We'd created a whole new friend circle and experiences of the joys of speedway racing.
Yeah, awesome. And current Australia 2, you finished third at Murray Bridge 2 years ago, second this year at Simpson Speedway, which apparently is one of your best tracks that you like. Toowoomba next year, maybe number one next year, mate, if you keep going in the way that you've been stepping up the top steps. Surely number one looks good next year?
Yeah, definitely. Like, you know, we're going to go and put our best foot forward again. I mean, that's all we really do. We're not doing anything special. You know, we're just out there trying to make the best of what we got, and just trying to make sure that everything that we can control, you know, we do control to the best of our ability. You know, we have reliable equipment, we have a well-maintained car, and, you know, we have as many of the resources in our, you know, in our kit that we can call on and use whenever we need to. So, you know, I think this year I'm very happy, I must say, with our second place. I mean, 2 podiums in a row. The only other guy that's done that's Caden, and you know, so I'm the sort of guy that I'm never going to be happy until I'm number one. So, you know, we'll keep pushing towards that and seeing where we can improve. Basically, you know, if you can't, and that also includes me as a driver. You know, yeah, you can go buy better equipment and, you know, possibly try and get better people around you or whatnot. But, you know, if the problem's the nut between the steering wheel and the seat, then, you know, you've got to be able to acknowledge that too. And I think for me, it's probably only been a couple of years now where I've really been driving to a level where I should be or thought I should be. But you're still learning, you're still improving your skills, and you know, those big meetings like the Aussie titles and the 50 lappers and that, they expose your weaknesses. So, you know, when you go to a club show, and, you know, not to say that a club show isn't hard to win, they're just as hard to win generally than a big show, but you know, you can not be 100% on your game and still get away and have a win. So you're probably not as critical on yourself then, but when you go to a title and you miss the setup by this much and you get spanked in a heat race or something like that, it's like, yeah, no, we've got to lift our game a bit here. So I think as long as you're always taking in information and analysing where you can improve, then hope, you know, you will keep improving. So if we can follow our trajectory of improving every single Aussie title that we've done, then, well, there's nowhere to go except number one now. So we'll, like I said, we'll put our best foot forward. We'll have a good crack, and hopefully the stars align for us. Yep,
awesome. And you must have been happy with the way the Australian title went. You know, like you had a DNF on the second night, I think, if I remember rightly. On the second night you had a DNF, and then had to miss the pole shuffle, and then started out of 11th. Like, with the calibre of names, you like Mosen, Caden Brown, you know, Matt Jackson was there as well. You know, like, there were some big names in the whole Australian title. I could name a heap more, but, you know, that's just a few.
Absolutely, yeah. It was. I knew I had the work cut out for me. You know, coming out of mid in the pack, it was always going to be hard to get through unscathed and then give yourself a chance. But, you know, luckily things just fell in my lap a little bit. I mean, I had one guy go singing around the outside of me. I think on lap 2 was Cale Drake, the American, and I managed to sort of latch onto the back of him and follow him through a lot of the pack and get me up into the top 5. And then, from there it was just a matter of picking your moments and just keep working your way up. I mean, by the time I got into second, there was still 12, 13 laps to go. There's plenty of time, so it just shows you know, even Cale coming even way deeper than me. I think he came through the B. So, you know, if you know your setup and you know how to drive the track on the night, then, you know, you can work your way through the field pretty well. No, you know, no matter who's in that field, it doesn't really matter. You know, if you've got your shit together, you can get there and you can do it, you know. So, yeah, I had a bit of belief. I was confident we were going in with a good car, and I think we proved that, you know, we definitely deserve to be on the podium again. You know, with Harry, unfortunately, you know, having a bit of a whoopsie and dropping out of the race lead, we might have only been contending for third place again, but you got to get through to the end of the race too, not just be super fast. So that's what I like to focus on, is just finishing all the time. I mean, it's very rarely, not good, we have too many DNFs, and even less that we have mechanical problems, and I think that is a big contributing factor to our improvement, that we're finishing races, we're getting laps, and experience and knowledge, and it all just sort of comes together, and I love the big stage too. I love the excitement, but also the pressure of this is the one chance we've got to make this happen, and now you got to wait a whole another year now to have another crack. So you got to make the most of it while you can, and it's time to step up sometimes, and we got it done that day.
And he's not easy to beat, Caden Brown, is he? You've actually beaten him once already this season, but he is a very hard driver to get around, isn't he?
Oh, absolutely. He's a young guy. He's at the top of his game at the moment. He's probably in his peak physical conditions as well. That he can manhandle a car as good as anybody out there if he has to as well. So hats off to Caden and his team. They are 100% absolutely the benchmark in Australia, and rising talent in international midget racing as well. So anytime you can be near Caden, it's an achievement in itself. And yes, we're lucky enough to snag a win over him at the Beasley, but he was coming. He probably give him another 5 or 10 laps, and he probably would have got me and driven away in the end. But we got the job done on that night, and that's where we want to be. We want to be number one, and I think we can still make it happen. I don't think I'm too old just yet. I've probably got a couple of good years left in me. So
you're too old, mate.
I was having a good talk to Lee Redmond, one of your other guests that you had on at the title, and he said, I reckon you're in your prime now, because you're smarter than you ever been. And I said, you're probably right. I'm still physically fit enough and strong enough to do what I need to do to get the car around. It's just a matter of making the right moves. And also, I crew chief my own car too. So, I've got no one else to blame when the car's not right except myself. If I don't make the right choices about what to do with everything, then that's another thing that I've got to factor in, that I've got to get right. So but like I said, Caden and his team, congratulations to them, and they are absolutely the benchmark. And it's up to us to try and chase him down. He's at the top of the tree now, and we're all clawing at the bottom trying to get up there with him. But he's not going to relinquish his spot very easily, I'll tell you right now. But
he is beatable, which you have proven. He can. People can beat Caden. There is times where he can be beaten, and I'm pretty sure that it won't be the last time that you come home before him. But it was good Australian title to watch, mate. And like I said, you should be proud, from 11th till 2nd with the calibre of drivers that was there. Hats off to you and the crew for doing what you did. It was great to watch. And
I was going to say, I think the meeting too, Simpson Car Club, they put on a fantastic show. I think it ran as smoothly as it possibly could. And there was probably a few people that were skeptical about having an Aussie title at Simpson, but it just proved to be, what a great little track. Yes, it's a little bit of an oddball shape, and some people love it, some people will hate it for that reason, but the slide jobs, the passing, the racing, it was second to none really. So great job to the Simpson Car Club and the VSDA for hosting the Australian title. And I just love it personally. It's just the best race meeting of the year. I think you get to meet new people from interstate or international people. You get to talk to teams that you might only get to see once or twice a year.
Yep.
From Queensland or Perth or Tassie or wherever, and have a bit of a catch up. And he's all love the same thing. We're all there because we love speedway and midget racing, and so it's like a weekend of hanging out with your mates to a certain extent, except once you get on the track, you all want to kill each other. But
That's in every motorsport, though, isn't it? That's not just sprint car racing. I think that's every motorsport known to man, whether it be Formula Ones, V8 supercars, or a demolition derby with a heap of $1,000 bombs. You all want to get out there and beat each other. So, I think
that's it.
That's just the competitive nature of the sport, and that's what we love about the sport so much, is the competitive nature about it. It's awesome. I think Paul says there's only one sport, the rest of teams are games or something like that, he says. But yeah, he should be on the show tonight, Paul. I don't know why he's actually travelling across Australia at the moment on his way to a new job. So hopefully we'll have Paul back in the next couple of weeks to come back on the show, because he is a big. We love him on the show. We can't say we don't.
Oh, he's definitely a character.
Yeah, he do, and he's.
I'll give him a shout out. I'll say, Paul, I have a Sam Booker for you later, mate.
He'll have more than one later, I bet.
Oh, I bet he will, yeah.
And so, speed car racing, Nick, is it more mental than physical, or is there a bit of both?
Oh, it's definitely both.
Yep.
I mean, when your car's on song and everything's going well and you've nailed the setup, the cars are relatively easy to drive. You can sort of sit back and pedal it, and the car sort of just does its thing, and you don't have to manhandle it too much. But a good example was Simpson on night 2, where the track sort of got a bit of character around the cushion, and got a little bit rough. The track was still relatively slick in spots, so you had to sort of dial the car in to have a lot of sort of forward drive, but it made it a bit of a handful getting through the rough stuff. So you sort of, the approach that we took was, set the car up to get the drive, and then you just had to manage the car and manhandle it a little bit through the rough stuff. So that takes its toll physically. I think, if anyone that said, oh, that was easy, would be kidding themselves.
Yeah. Yep.
But then also being able to analyse that and deal with it on the fly too. Look at the track, view your car, look at your shocks, see what you can do to sort of make it easier on yourself. And so I definitely think it is physical, but I think a thinking man or a thinking person will go far in speed car racing rather than just a throttle stomper. Yep. If you can adapt to different situations, then especially if you can adapt quicker than everybody else, then it's going to be to your advantage, isn't it? So definitely mentally, it's a part of it that if you don't make great choices, then you're going to go backwards.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And you drive a Beretta chassis. Brett Lacey, the great man himself, builds these Beretta chassis. How do you rate them, mate? Are they as good as what they seem to be?
Well, need I say more? 2 cars on the podium this year, 1 car on the podium last year. Look, to be totally honest, I haven't driven a King chassis, I haven't driven a CP3, I haven't driven a Stealth or any other type of chassis apart from my old Aggressor, which there's one sitting in the background there. But so look, I don't have a huge pool of knowledge to draw from as far as what I think as a driver, but the results are there. Yep. We're pretty quick everywhere we go, thereabouts anyway. Young Aston Rodriguez, did a fantastic job putting his car on the podium at the Aussie title as well. Obviously being a Beretta, they got that thing singing along really well. Michael Conway showed some really good speed throughout the weekend with his Honda, and unfortunately tripped up with another car in the B main. But I think there's 9 or 10 speed car chassis out there now in speed car land in Australia. So I think once maybe there's a few more out there in the pool too, that we'll see more and more of them, not just 1 or 2 or 3 cars doing well, but more of them. I like it. Yep. And Brett's support is just second to none. I don't think having a guy in our state and only a half an hour car ride down the road where I can go and see him, or talk about chassis, get repairs done or whatever. It's pretty indispensable bit of help there, So I really can't thank Brett enough for what he's done for me and developing the Beretta Speedcar chassis and hopefully we can give him another title next year. This year would have been nice. It was actually the 39th anniversary of Brett winning the Aussie title in the sprint car, so it would have been nice to get it done at Simpson in the number 39 Beretta, but anyway, not to be. Maybe we'll do it on the 40th anniversary. Who knows? But So.
And have you spun any laps at Toowoomba yet, or is it a virgin track for you when you got there next year?
Yeah, no, it'll definitely be a virgin. I've been wanting to actually get up there for a couple of years to do the 50 lapper, and I was sort of looking at it last year, and it just didn't work out with our engine schedule and everything. To do the 50 lapper, so we gave it a miss, and I'd pretty much penciled in this year that I wanted to do the 50 lapper. And then obviously once the announcement came that the Aussie title's going to be there, I'm like, we have to do the 50 lapper. We've got to go there and have a run there and get our head around it. Yep. For the local guys up there, they race there, 6, 7, 8 times a year, so they're going to be all over their setups and everything for that track. So it'd be nice to get up there and have a run there this year, and then we can go home and have a think about it during the off season and see what we need depending on how we go.
Yeah, and car numbers in Queensland are big too, so I expect big car numbers for the Australian title because they've got a lot up there in Speedcars.
Yeah, it is a really strong club, and they've got some good young talent coming up from other divisions as well. So having the Aussie title there next year, I suspect that they might even have a few new people come into the division up in Queensland and thinking that let's have a crack at this Aussie title at our home track in Toowoomba. So that's good for them. It's good for the sport to bring new people into it, and hopefully but they get a good congregation of drivers from far and wide to come to Toowoomba and make it a 40, 50, 60, 70 car show. I don't know. It'd be great, but
it'd be nice to see 70 odd cars up there. It'd definitely be worth going and have a look at. That's for sure. They got big year next year. Toowoomba got the Speedcar Australian title and the Sprint Car Australian title, and I think they might even have the Super Sedan one if I'm correct. I might be wrong with the Super Sedan one, but I know they've got a few titles up there that next year. So they must be doing something right up there. That's for sure.
Oh, that's good. As long as we're the last title, then that might be they'll know exactly what they're doing with the track and give us a really good racy surface. Yeah,
well, it's a different track because you've got the cement wall all around the inside, so you can't cut the corners. So it's very different to a lot of tracks around Australia. Like a lot of them don't have that Armco on the inside. I know Tasmania doesn't. We just have the old tyre sticking up out of the ground. Does that bother you at all, having an Armco on the infield?
No, I don't think so. I mean, a lot of, yes and no. Sometimes it's on the fence there. Sometimes they all seem to be running around the gutter. But funnily enough, very rarely see a car hit that inside wall. Yeah. So I don't know whether it's enough of a deterrent just to keep everybody away from it, or it's. I'm thinking it's sort of a little bit forgiving in the way that if you come in a bit tight, you can sort of glance off it a little bit and it's not like you're going to hit a berm or a tractor tyre and it's going to stop your car. You could probably glance off it a little bit and keep going unscathed. So we'll take it as it comes. Everyone else gets around there all right, so why should I be any different?
No, that's it, mate, that's it. But Australian title won and second place, and that can't complain of that. But overall with this season this year, Nick, are we happy?
I haven't done enough racing, to be honest. I think, we had a sort of bit of a slow start to the year and had a couple of cancellations with weather and whatnot. I think we had 2 rainouts in a row at Avalon, which was, one of them was a really good show too, the Barry Power Classic. That was paying good money too, so I think that's going to get rescheduled for later on in the season, so we'll still get that one in. But, coming up to Christmas, it felt like I'd done basically nothing. We had a couple of little runs at Napa in Adelaide, but obviously that got rained out then on the last day, and we had another show where we only got one heat, or maybe another Avalon show where we only got one heat in, and it got rained out as well. So I think any real racer just wants to be out there as much as they can, and it's unfortunate that it's so hard to get laps in. And it doesn't matter, if you're a professional sports person, whether you play, tennis or cricket or motocross riders or whatever, they're out there every day during the week, mornings, nights, practicing and training, and we get to race a car once a fortnight if we're lucky. And I think that shows too with the Americans, where they're racing week in, week out, sometimes multiple times in a week, and then they come out here and they jump in a foreign car or a foreign track and just go bang, they're straight on the pace, because they just know what they have to do and how they need to drive. And I think our Aussie contingency of top tier drivers could possibly be even better if we got the amount of racing that they did, but it's just not something that happens anymore. And I mean, for me, I'm a family man, I've got a couple of kids and full-time job, so I've got enough on my plate anyway. I can't really spare too much more time to go racing every second week as much as I'd love to. So we'll just keep trucking along and supporting our Victorian, our local shows, and then just getting interstate, big meetings here and there wherever we can. And like I said, I want to tick off Toowoomba this year, and the next bucket list thing will be get over to Perth. I'd love to have a race at Kwinana once or twice, and basically just tick off all those little bucket list items that you want to do while you're still fit and well enough to keep racing.
Yeah, for sure. And you won a big memorial race this year at Simpson. You've been chasing it for a few years. I can't remember the name. I think it's the Beasley Memorial. Is that right?
Beasley, yeah.
That's pretty close to home, that one.
Well, the Beasley Motorsport team was, who my grandfather worked for with Alf and Stud Beasley, and through the 60s at Brooklyn and all that. So it was. When my granddad was still alive, unfortunately he passed before I even started racing speed cars. He was always talking about how great that family was for the speed car racing, and what they brought to the whole show with multiple cars and top tier equipment and whatnot. So it was definitely was a memorable moment for me. It was actually my first blue ribbon event in Victoria. We have snagged a couple here and there in other states, but Victoria, no blue ribbon events had come my way. So we'd run a couple of podiums and finally got the job done, and in a pretty good race with Caden, as we mentioned before. So definitely meant a lot to me, and to get one of those is a nice little tick on the resume. And not that I'm trying to build an impressive resume for anyone, but one day when I look back and I can say, well, I got one of those. So it was definitely a good one that I cherished, especially.
Right. And the kids, mate, have they showed any interest in jumping in one?
They're probably they're only 10, 11, and 5 and 6, so a little bit young to start worrying about jumping in a speed car yet. But I've definitely had a few people pushing me towards the quarter midgets with them. I mean, they actually love helping me out. My boy, he's in the shed with me every chance he gets. He wanders in, he's like, can I help with anything? And well, basically, I don't really wash panels anymore. The kids are all over that. So I've even gotten to the point where they're stripping the panels off the car for me.
Excellent.
And so they're washing all the panels. I've got them. They're starting to wash the wheels and tyres for me, which is nice. And that's just like one less thing that I've got to do during the week between racing. So it is a massive help. And I think Yeah, I mean, my oldest daughter, I think next year she'll be 12 then, so I can get a junior speedway license and I can have her in the pits with me. And then, because I want them to start coming racing with me too, to not only build the passion themselves, but to build some friendships and that, with other kids around the pits. And like I see other families that have known each other for 20, 30, 40 years, and the kids have all grown up together, and I sort of want my kids to experience that too, rather than having them out roaming the streets, hanging out the front of Woolies at bloody 10 o'clock on a Saturday night. I'd rather have them at the speedway. So that's my plan anyway for the future. Is if at least if they're not racing, I'm going to have myself a mighty little crew.
Nah, that's it, mate. That's it. That's awesome. And the wife, mate, how does she go with it all? Does she love you racing, or does she like, I don't know,
She's got a love-hate relationship. She likes seeing me succeed and achieve my goals. She's a nurse, so she worries about the danger factor of motorsport in general.
Yep.
The support I get from my family is second to none. They don't question where I'm going, what I'm doing, or it's like I said, even though my wife, Connor, she's not a massive part of my racing, she's there in the background and, running the household and looking after the family when I'm away racing. So, I think as a racer, you can't ask for much more than that. I mean, I get to go race, do what I want, when I want, and I don't really get too much grief or complaints about it. Although, in saying that, this weekend I was supposed to be racing at Wagga for the AGP, but that's not happening because we booked a family trip away up the river for a week up at Moama. So that's one that I can't attend to because of family commitments. But such is life. Every other meeting I'll get in that I want to, so that's all right.
You got to give one up every now and then, mate, to keep the wife happy.
Yeah, keep the brownie points ticking over.
And your dad, he's such a big supporter, David. Like, every time I go to the track and catch up with you, we're always yakking away for hours and hours, me and David and you, and he is such a big supporter of your racing, isn't he?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think everybody's, I shouldn't say everybody's dad because some dads aren't involved, but the dads that are involved in the race teams and that they all are great supporters of what we all want to do. And look, my dad, I've said it a million times before, he's the backbone of the team, and we gave him the official team manager name a year or two ago, and now he thinks he's got to run everything. But he does a lot for me that I can't even fathom trying to deal with. Paperwork, licensing, this and that, and organising accommodation, the team, who's coming, who's not coming, how we're going to get there, where we staying. I hate doing all that stuff, and he does all that with bells on. So it's a huge help to me and the running of our team. And I think to be at the best you can be, you've got to have a good crew. Yep. And I feel like we've got a good crew. We all work really well together. Everybody knows their role. And with Brody, he's been doing some time in America, and he's learning off KKM and some other people over in America that he's making friends with and rubbing shoulders with. So the information that he brings back is contributing to my team, and Anthony, my engine builder, but he's also like my little voice in my ear, just telling me when I'm doing no good, or where I'm he's pumping me up when I need to be pumped up, and he's a voice of reason a lot of the time. Sometimes when I guess my second guess what I'm doing, or not sure about my decisions, he's the guy in my ear saying, nah, I think this is right, or you're definitely going down the right path here. And I think especially when you're crew chief in your own car, you need to have someone there level-headed, that can just analyse everything that's going on and say, yeah, I think you're right, or, you know, no, you're barking up the wrong tree there. So, you know, we've got a good core group, and Dad's definitely 110% part of that core group. You know, some people will say, oh, you know, oh, what do you need a silly old bastard like that for on your team? But like I said, I get to the track and I don't have to do a whole lot anymore, because everyone knows what they're doing. Everyone knows where everything is, and all the tools are, and all the spares are, and the procedure that we follow. And it just makes my job easier, having good people around you that you don't have to worry about, and they can do their job and do it well. So
always makes a big difference when you've got a team that works well together. And David, big shout out to you. I don't know about being a Geelong supporter, but you know, we won't hold that against you, David. Like, hats off to you. You do such a great job. Do you have any superstitions, Nick? Like you have to wear a lucky pair of socks or a lucky pair of undies when you go racing, or is it just get out there?
Nah, mate, I'm not into superstitions. Couldn't give couldn't give a rat's ass whether I ran over a black cat on the way to the track or fell over and tripped over a ladder or something. It doesn't bother me. It is what you make of it, you know. If you're gonna let stuff like that, superstitions worry you, then you know, you're putting it in someone else's hands, aren't you?
That's it.
I like to think that my own fate is in my own hands. So no.
I get it all the time being a videographer for Speedway and that. I can't put a GoPro on my car, they're bad luck, and I just look at them and go, really? Like, really? Do you think a GoPro is bad luck? But
definitely. I mean, there was plenty of cameras on cars, you know, especially in Speedway green race cars. But there's plenty of people that proved that was null and void. So, and hey, I had a GoPro on the car at Simpson when we won the Beaver Memorial. So there goes that theory out the window.
No, totally agree. Definitely goes out the window. You would have seen during the week, Nick, that Speedcars Australia are looking at bringing in some new motors. In general, the 2-litre Hyundai motor with a turbo on it. What's your thoughts on that, mate? Do you think it's a good idea?
I'm a massive advocate for opening up the engine rules to a certain extent. We all have a lot of money and investment in our current race engines, but I think generally a lot of the rules in the Speedcar rulebook, and don't get me wrong, this is just my opinion, this is not any reflection of anyone else or the club or anything like that, this is my personal opinion. The rules are so outdated that they don't really suit what's out there in the modern market anymore. And I think now, yes, you hear all the chit chat about how expensive Speedcar engines are, and I think it's just about giving more options to people again. It seems like now the only option you have is to have a race engine, a purpose-built race engine. Generally, the more expensive ones, are getting like right up there, and I hate to be the doom and gloom guy all the time. There's plenty of examples of guys doing really, really, really well and spectacular things with, budget race engines. Just recently at the Aussie title, we had young Reece Burkett from New South Wales that, won a heat or two and put it in the pole shuffle at the Australian title with a Fontana engine that, his dad himself said to me, if you knew what I paid for that engine, you'd have a laugh. And he did an absolutely fantastic job that weekend, and he should be really proud about what he achieved with that package. And it just shows you, if you get everything else right, those budget engine packages aren't going to be too far away. Brock from Tasmania was another example. I think he started in the top 10 at the Aussie title with his Fontana as well. So, there's plenty of people out there that want to jump up and down about how expensive they are, but there's plenty of people doing spectacular things with budget packages. And like I said, if you get everything else right, you're going to be thereabouts. But the Hyundai, I'm all for it. These guys are doing some development and pushing some modern technology in the sport. I think it's great, and I think they should open it up to basically all 2-litre multi-valve engines that, we should have them in speed car racing. And there will be those people that say, oh yeah, you can make over 400 horsepower. Well, yeah, okay, good luck, because yes, all right, you can make a 2-litre turbo make big horsepower, but it's going to be very hard to deal with on and off the track, because not only does it have to make good power, it's got to be reliable, it's got to be drivable, and so if we can attract some more people to the division through opening up the engine rules a little bit, like I said, giving the options back. I mean, speed cars were built on a premise of run what you brung, build a race car in your shed, see what you come up with, and come have a go, come and race it. Now we've lost all that sort of ingenuity and engineering in the sport over the years, and some people do just want to buy an engine and a race car and all the parts off the shelf and assemble it and go racing, but there are the contingency of people out there that want to innovate as well. So we need to have options for them to be able to do that, and I think that would be really cool if it came back. I mean, I'm old enough to remember the sort of stock block era where guys used to build Mazdas and Volvos and Rotaries and this and that and Subarus and Nissans and et cetera, and yes, the professionalism has gotten higher, and the vision's probably got more reliable without that stuff out there anymore. But I think now in this day and age that it could be something that could be readdressed, and if we get another 2, 3, 4, 5 cars come into the mix and start racing some weird and wonderful things, well, good luck to them, and hey, the more the merrier, come and have a crack. That's what I say anyway.
Could certainly build the numbers up in Australia, like more speed car drivers out there, the better it is for the division, of course, and also these modern the engines that you're using at the moment, they're only 2 valves per cylinder. Those days are gone, aren't they? Everything's quad valves nowadays. So it's got to make it a little bit better. So, and
I think there's a good multitude now of relatively reliable stock block engines from different various manufacturers that are putting out good power and good equipment, and like we've seen it time and time again. You don't need 400 horsepower to win races in a speed car. Yes, all right, it definitely helps, but you can definitely go out there and do some damage with even 330 horsepower. So I think like I said, I reckon it'd be cool just to see some more interesting and different stuff out there, and let people experiment.
It certainly would be. Michael Conway, he's experimenting with the Honda motor at the moment, and having good success with that engine. Like he was no slouch at the Australian title, so there's another engine that can come into has come in to be able to use. You've got a couple of people running V6s, the Magna motor. I presume they're still available to be ran. So it's a big, wide selection of engines that you can use in speed cars, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've got the Crouchers as well from South Australia. They've got the Nissan, the 3-litre Nissan V6. I mean, that's a really stout motor. You can pick one up the wreckers for probably $500 and build it into a midget engine. Not a lot of people go down that path, but it is an option out there. I mean, that thing in the background there it'll be a 2.5-litre Mitsubishi quad valve motor that I'm sort of tinkering around with, and I'd love to have that. It's not going to be turbo or boosted or anything, it's going to be an NA motor, but that's a motor that you can still buy brand spanking new off Temu or eBay or whatever. You can buy crate motors for like $3,000. I reckon it'd make a great platform for an affordable midget motor. You can get them from the wreckers for like $200. So I think once the rules open up a little bit and people start experimenting with what's out there, then we could have a ways forward into the future. But for now, I mean, obviously I love the stock block stuff, but we're going to continue on with our race engine path. I mean, we've got maybe 3 or 4 years left in me that I can keep doing it at the top level. So we've got to give ourselves every chance we can at the moment. And no time for experimenting now. We'll experiment later.
And what engine package are you running, Nick?
So we're just running an Eagle billet Chev.
Yep.
Anthony from Casey Performance Engines. He's built that thing for a number of years for me now, and he's maintained all my motors through many different divisions that I've raced. It's a stout performer. It's got the runs on the board. We've done a lot of development with it over the last few years. I mean, it's a 17-year-old motor. Obviously internally it's all brand new, we've modernised the technology that's in the motor as much as we can, and like I said, it's performing, it's getting the job done for us. Yes, we'd all love to go out and have 100k to spend on a motor, or something different, but I think we're getting pretty good results out of the equipment that we got, and I'm not in I'm sort of in two minds about whether we stick with this package or whether we maybe try something different.
Yep.
But it's hard to stray away from the devil, to go see the devil you don't know. We'll see what comes in the future, but for now, the Chev's still doing the job for us, and we'll be sticking with that for now.
Yeah, the Toyota seems to be the way to go, so a lot of drivers have told me.
Well, there's, you got the Toyotas, you got the Stanton Mopar SR11s, we've got, apparently there's some new Steve Smith motors coming out on the market shortly, the GRD Chevs as well. I mean, they're obviously the top tier motors that are out there, but like I said, there's plenty of other engine packages that are doing really stout things, and I think if it's only one part of the total package is your engine, and it doesn't really matter what you've got, in my opinion. It definitely helps when you're at that sort of top level, to have something a little bit more modern than that, but like I said, there's plenty of guys out there doing cool things and winning races with budget packages, and like I said, as much as I take my hat off to the top guys that we race with, it's those guys as well, the budget teams that we can't race without them. We need them out there, and I think it's cool that they're out there putting their best foot forward as well with what they got, and some of them getting really great results.
Well, it's the same in every division in Australia now. You look at super sedans, they've got the crate motor now. AMCA's, they've got a crate motor now. It's making it more affordable for people to get out there, and I think in one way it's going to save a lot of classes in our speedway divisions around Australia. So for Speedcars to have such a variety of motors to choose from, there's not many classes in Australia that have that much of a variety. So it's good, I think, and it should stay that way, so it opens it up to all people. You can go out and spend $140,000 on a Toyota if you want, or you can go and spend $20,000 on some Nissan motor down the road that can be just as competitive with everyone else out there. So I think it's a great way the Speedcars do it, and I think they should stick with it, and bring in these new motors. It'd be awesome to see a turbo out there. I reckon it would, but
definitely might whacking a few hair dryers on a few motors might attract some new people to the sport too. You've always got turbo and supercharged gurus out there that we can't put them on a Speedcar motor, so we don't bother. Well, they might be able to come and have a crack now. So,
that's it.
I don't know. I'm a glass half full guy, and I just think that it's moving forward and it's modernising the sport. So bring it on.
Yeah, I reckon it's a great idea. Absolute great idea. Did you have any childhood heroes growing up, Nick?
Motorsport heroes?
Oh, motorsport, it doesn't matter.
In general? You're going to probably scoff at the first one, but growing up in a Geelong household, I got to see Gary Ablett Sr. play.
Yep.
I'm old enough for that. and his boys too. So I mean, yeah, the Ablets were pretty phenomenal AFL players, but motorsport wise, definitely like I've got to put Adam Clark in the mix.
Yep.
You know, yeah, he's. I mean, being a go-kart, ex-Australian go-kart champion and a road racing guy for a part of his career before coming to Speedway, and then, you know, doing what he did in Speedcars, you know, winning multiple national titles and being, you know, arguably one of the, you know, top dogs in the country ever, and also racing abroad and holding his own in America and whatnot. Yeah, I mean, I got to race against Clarkey a couple of times in my early days, and I wouldn't say really racing against him, but I mean, I was on the track at the same time. Yeah. and you know, he can probably still hold his own pretty well these days, even if he made a comeback. So yeah, definitely, you know, Adam Clark. I mean, Neville Lance was a guy also that, you know, I watched, you know, when he was racing NASCAR and doing the sort of touring car stuff, and then, you know, obviously with his Speedway career as well, you know, it was pretty cool to see him win a title at Perth a couple of years ago, whenever that was, and then yeah, to see him there at Simpson also for this title, you know, that was pretty cool. And yeah, that's probably about it. I mean, apart from I don't know, probably one from a bit left field would be Travis Pastrana too.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yep, crazy.
You know, if you've there's a documentary called 199 Lives, which is just a doco on Travis and his life and growing up, and you watch that and you seriously go, man, what am I doing with my life?
I want to know how he's still alive.
He's just an absolute freak of a guy, and, you know, got kahunas the size of watermelons, and still doing it to this day, you know. So, but I must say, I think they put him in a sprint car, and he
shit himself.
he shit himself a little bit, yeah. So, but yeah, no, really cool guy, and yeah, you know, definitely one of those people that just make you look at your life and go, well, you know, I've got to pull my finger out because I haven't done that much.
Mind you, it took him a while to get him in the sprint car because he was that tall, but yeah, apparently he shit himself, so that says a lot from someone that's done.
Well, they've got to get him in a midget next.
Yeah, that's it. And you see a lot of that now, don't you? Speed car drivers jumping into sprint cars and having a blat. Yeah, you ever crossed your mind to do the same, mate? I know it's a lot more money, but you know.
Yeah, I'd love to have a bit of a dabble.
Yep. Just
to experience it.
Yep.
I mean, like I said, I'm a bucket list sort of guy. You know, I like to experience everything that life's got to offer, and you know, speed cars. I mean, speed cars is where my passion is, and that's what I want to race. And I probably don't really have the space or the resources to you know, run a sprint car or whatever, especially because I do it all myself. And but yeah, would definitely, you know, be interested. Like if anyone was to give me the opportunity to drive a car, then I'd definitely jump at that. And you know, obviously wouldn't be expecting anything big, but you know, like I said, it'd definitely be. I mean, I'd drive anything. I really, you know, if someone offered me a driving a wingless, I'd probably consider it. You know, I drove a compact speed car a couple of times last year for Trevor Perry, and yeah, we had some good results in that as well. A couple of wins and a podium and a national title as well, and that was really fun. And I think it was valuable laps too for me as a driver. Just getting more seat time in something pretty similar to a speed car. But you know, I nearly got a drive in a Formula 500 a little while ago. That would have been fun just for something different. So yeah, I mean, I'll drive anything if it's up for grabs. But yeah, definitely would like to tick off, you know, driving a sprint car at some point. And you know, I don't know, I might have to talk to some teams about maybe leasing a drive somewhere, but But yeah, as far as racing one full time, no real desire to do that.
There are all them sprint car teams out there that want to put a driver in a car. Go hold to Nick. He'd more than welcome to have a crapping one. It probably would be a crapping one too. I've drove one a couple of times, and yeah, they got some mumbo. So not raced one, but drove one. I must get that clear. I've never raced one. But just driving one on a track out there by yourself was enough for me. And yeah, I got in the two-seater with Robbie Farr years ago, and I got out of that after 10 laps, and I think the hairs on the back of the neck stood up for about 2 hours afterwards. It was absolutely crazy. It was a great adrenaline rush, and yeah, no, it's definitely, yeah.
I mean, it's so weird when obviously, it's pretty well documented now. We've got Rusty Hickman that's bought a speed car, and he's joining the speed car ranks in Victoria. And having a chat to him after the title, he's like, oh man, these things are like wild, and they're like so crazy, so fun to drive, and hearing like his feedback, obviously of a seasoned sprint car racer, then to come to a midget and say how cool they are and how wild they are to drive, it's like, oh, that's pretty impressive. They're
definitely exciting. I was sort of a fan until a couple of years ago, and then I went to Murray Bridge and watched the Australian title, and I just walked away from there going, wow, like these things are crazy. But it definitely got me as a fan. And the rest is history now. I love the bloody things. It's a pity we haven't got them here in Tassie. We need to get them back down here. Hopefully we do in the next couple of seasons. I know there's a little bit of work going on in the background, but hopefully we do get them back down here. So fingers crossed. We've got some great talent. We've got Luke Redpath, big, great speed car driver. Brock Webster, another good talent. He does it on a budget. Yeah, Fred Freeman. There's still a few down here that definitely know how to wheel. So it'll be good to see them back down here and then make it a fully national division again, which is, I reckon, is what it should be. So what's next for you, Nick? Where are we off to next, mate?
Like I said, not going to Wagga this weekend. ACC title will be the next one for us on the 14th. Definitely got a bit of unfinished business to that joint. It doesn't seem to take very kindly to me. Haven't finished the meeting there yet, so hopefully we can get through this one unscathed and maybe get a result on the board. Easter, we'll be going to the 50 lapper at Easter at Murray Bridge. We've got a couple of shows left in Victoria. We've got a club show, Southern Speedcar Tour around at Warrnambool. Really looking forward to that one. I mean, Warrnambool, one of the best tracks in the country, so who doesn't want to race there?
Yeah, that's it.
That should be a good night. And then back to Avalon for the Diggers Cup and the Barrow Power Classic, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but
I'm pretty sure it is.
But and then if all goes well, we'll head off to Toowoomba for the 50 lapper at the end of the season. So not a whole heap of racing left to go. It feels like we've only just sort of got going and now the season's coming to a close. But a couple of good meetings left, and if we can get a couple more runs on the board, it'd be nice. Maybe have another crack at that 20k at Murray Bridge would be good. I had a couple podiums there too, so to snag that one would be nice.
Yeah, it would be alright.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. It's just a great show and a great venue, and we like being part of it. So
what is it? $55,000 worth of prize money for the 50 lapper at Murray Bridge. That's not bad. That's hats off to the speed car clubs. For getting 55 grand to get out there and throw around between the drivers. That's great, and the amount of towage they're offering too, which is
I think everybody's on the table for the first time this year. So I think it's the highest tow money rate in the country for any show. And then obviously 20 on the nose and better pay through the order as well. So like I said, it's a great show. It's a great event. Anyway, we'd probably go anyway, even if it was $5,000 to win. So I mean, the Australasian Championship, as Alison keeps pointing out, and hopefully they can build that up into one of the biggest shows in the country.
Yeah, I think it's well on its way. Hopefully I'll be there this one. I was meant to go to the Australian title, but work commitments unfortunately made it that I couldn't go, so I was a bit disappointed I couldn't get to Simpson. So
maybe you were the missing link, so
yeah, probably could have been, mate.
Could have got the job done.
Yeah, I doubt I would have been, mate. But I have spoke to your dad, and we're trying to arrange so I can go over to the Murray Bridge one, and hopefully Paul will be there as well. But fingers crossed. We've still got a couple more weeks to get that all sorted. Also on this week, coming up this weekend, we've got the Australian Grand Prix, like I said, at Wagga, where you was going to be going. I'm not sure on numbers that'll be there this weekend, but that's one of the events this weekend. And also we've got the Neville Lance Challenge in Perth. I'm gathering that's at Kwinana. Actually didn't see what track it was, it just said Perth, so I'm gathering that's Kwinana. So best of luck to all the drivers there this weekend. We hope everyone has a great time, and may the best man win, best driver win, whichever way you want to put it. Before we go, Nick, and call it a night, it's been great talking to you tonight. I know you don't do this by yourself. You've got so many sponsors and people that, help you out. Here's your chance to keep them all happy and, put big smiles on their faces. So go hard, mate.
As the auto shots, I've got to thank yourself for jumping on board this year. I mean, not only are you helping my team out, but you're doing your bit to help out the sport with Speedcars Down Under and promoting drivers and teams and events around the country. So thank you very much.
Thanks, mate,
for your support. Allcott Hire, obviously, they've been with us for a couple of years now, and really doing great things to support our team. Petter Suspension, Mornington, SCS4 Drive, the man who couldn't be here, the man of the hour, Paul Charlesworth. His support's been ongoing and unwavering, so thank you very much, Paul, for your support, and hopefully maybe one day I can get you that Australia one that you so badly want as well. Brett Lacey and Beretta Fabrication, Slade Shocks, Beaconsfield Automotive, Race Radiators, Swindell Bleeders, Revolution Race Gear, Casey Performance Engine, Anthony builds us Rippin' Motors, so thank you very much for his help over the years. Filterwares, who's actually us now, but Filterwares Australia and New Zealand, that's a new product line that we're selling now, available, for any basically midgets, sprint cars, micros, whatever you want, wingless sprint. You need a pre-filter for your car. Hit us up and we can sort you out. Wizard Race Products, they do killer. They wrap my car, they do my posters, my stickers, all my stuff. They do a really good, great job, and I can't thank them enough. Not only for me, but for the club too. They do all our boards and some of our trophies and stuff as well. So thank you very much, Wizard, Jacobus Motorsport, Smick, Scratch and Dent, the Race Shop, Peninsula Tow Bars, DNA Airbrushing, and Network Press. They all chip in and help us get down the road in one way or another. Brisk spark plugs as well. They've been supplying plugs for our motors for years, and they don't miss a beat. They're probably the best on the market. So and to my crew, Anthony, Brody, Ian, Jeff, Calvin, Darren, and Courtney. These guys give up a lot of time and a lot of effort to help me go racing and chase my dream, and I think it really is a uniform goal of all of ours to do better and achieve more bigger and better things. So thank you guys so much for all your support. Couldn't do it without you all. My mum, my dad, mum very, very rarely gets a mention, but she's got to live with dad for a start. That's probably the hardest bit, but she supports him to do what he wants to do and what he loves as well. So thank you, both you guys, for all your support. My brother, who actually came and crew chiefed the car at Simpson for the Beasley and then hasn't made another appearance since. So I said, well, I've maybe got to get you on board again at some stage. But my family, my wife and my kids, thank you so much, everyone that helps us out. And I don't know, I feel like I've got a list in front of me and I still feel like I've forgotten someone. But
No doubt they'll let you know if you forgot them, mate.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will.
It's been awesome having it on the show, Nick, and stick with us. We'll have a bit of a yak after the show finishes, but mate, honestly, you're one of the best ambassadors for the sport. You do so much, do so much for what you've got, and hats off to you and the crew. You know, I know you aren't the most richest team out there, but you definitely are battlers, and you do a good job of what you do, and a credit to you and the team, mate, and wish you best of luck for the rest of the season.
Thanks, Jamie, mate. We're just a bunch of flogs out there giving it a go, so.
You're making it work, mate. That's whatever you're doing, mate, you're doing it right. So, yeah, best of luck for the rest of the season. Hope it all goes well, mate.
Mate, thanks for having us on, and yeah, good luck for the rest of the shows, and I'll hopefully see you at May Ridge.
Yeah, hopefully we will, mate. Anyway, thanks for joining us, everyone. Have a good night. We'll be back next week. I'm hoping to have Mitchell Saunderson on the show. Mitch Saunderson, I think that might be a better way of putting it. He has voiced his wants to come on the show, let's put it that way. So hopefully we'll have him on next week. So thanks again for joining us, and we do apologise once again for the long break that we've had, but we've been really busy, but we hadn't forgot about everyone, and it's good to be back. So thanks for joining us, everyone. Have a good night, and hang on, where's he gone?
There he is. He showed up a week early.
Excellent. He's on a week earlier. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Have a good night. We'll catch you all next week.